Dang, okay. Let me find out I'm back on the podcast too. Not on a rainy storm, but I was doing big things back in my podcasting days. Not too crazy. Anyway, what's good, y'all? It is currently 5 a.m. I am in the groove of things and getting some things together. It's the Sagittarius season is, Sagittarius seasoning. I hope everybody is out there doing great, doing lovely, doing well. I love doing videos. I think videos are beautiful. I think they're amazing. I like to be able to be in front of the camera and things, but there's just something about the podcast that something about the voice, the audio, it just takes me back to radio days, you know what I mean? And y'all probably won't know because I never really talked about it on my channel, but I used to have a radio show back in the day. It was quote unquote podcast, but I called it my own little radio show. And I played all this music from people in the community, and I just love the art of the listening. I think a lot of times when we're on camera, we can focus too much on every little thing except the words that are being spoken. And so I just wanted to come back on here on this podcast. I want to come back to this space as, and introduce myself. I'm not going to do all the introductories right now, but I just wanted to kind of have this little segment to let y'all know that, it's up and it's stuck on the podcast tip. Coming soon to a theater near you. And there is a voice message link that I have that I will share with y'all once y'all get to this and receive this. So if you have any questions, any shout outs, anything that you would like to bring to the podcast, I have a little voice message section where I can share the link with y'all, and then you can record audios and send them back to me. I would love to hear y'all's questions, anything about astrology in particular that you would like me to answer or anything like that. Definitely let me know. Also, too, just with the voicemails as well and the voice notes, if y'all have any kind of business that has to do, or you do any kind of healing work and things like that y'all want me to check out, I'm definitely down to do some free promo on this thing as well, to let people know about different resources in their communities and what we got going down out here. So yeah, I don't want to keep this long. I just, I'm pretty excited to be back. I'm actually getting ready to drop that Patreon for real this time. So if you're interested in the membership on the Patreon, I have an 1111 tier for all things talking astrology, learning astrology, and also my personal journals and astro travels using astrocartography. And I also have a personal support tier for $3 hollers. And if you just want to support the journey, you definitely can do that. It's a couple more things I want to talk about as far as this idea of readings, because I think the readings that I do are going to switch up in the coming months, probably before the Sagittarius new moon, because it's definitely something that I've been kind of grappling back and forth with. Do I want to talk about it right now? Yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about it. Fuck it. So I don't even think I introduced myself. For those of y'all that don't know, that are on this podcast and you don't follow me on YouTube, which why not? Make sure that you sign up for YouTube at A Rainy Storm, and also follow my newsletter that's going to be dropping. I'm releasing newsletters every new moon periods cycle, so make sure you stay up for that. But one thing that I have been grappling with, and it definitely, I feel like, and introducing myself, A Rainy Storm, also aka Crew, Cosmic Root Work, evolutionary astrologer. By the way, for those of y'all that are listening to this podcast, I am a Western Mars and Gemini, Vedic Mars and Taurus, but specifically heavy on the Mars and Gemini, Western. Sometimes I jump around when I get excited or passionate or just things. So the Gemini might spring out. So jumping from one subject to another is definitely highly one of those things that I might be doing while I'm here. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh, so I've been going back and forth about this idea of care. It's this idea of doing this work as being a messenger. North Node Sagittarius over here, South Node Gemini. Also Midhaven in Sagittarius, of this idea of doing the work of being a healer in the sense of this astrology and being doing healing work in an unconventional way, right? And me coming to grapples in terms of this idea of capitalism, right? And deeper than just capitalism, there's something I've been grappling with in the summertime of this: why are we charging to get help and care? And the way that I look at astrology, granted, in the past, yes, because we all trying to eat out here in this world, currently under the guise of capitalism. So we want to charge for our services. We most times equate our worth, this idea of worth, to how much we charge. You know, people are like, well, how much am I supposed to charge for this? And how much am I supposed to charge for that? And, you know, we look to money to be seated and deeply seated in our value. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle when I first was doing my thing for me. And it still is a struggle for me to this day. Not necessarily the idea of charging, but just the inherent root of where it all comes from. And I think it was around June or July. It was like briefly after the North Node went into Aries and the South Node went into Libra. For me, that is my second house, which is Aries as a Pisces rising. And then, South Node and Libra my eighth, and, just attaching this idea of money and charging for my services. And I don't know, it just struck me, just doing this work, especially when I was in New Orleans at the time, and I was doing like a lot of face-to-face, in-person readings and stuff. And even though it felt good, if I'm going to be real, it felt good to, be able to provide for myself in these ways. I'm like, bro, charging the public, the community for my services just did not feel right. So I say all that to say, I was scrolling on TikTok and the adventures of TikTok and scrolling, and I don't follow activists that I think on there for real, but, I definitely, just in terms of, activism and things like that, I'm very well versed in the community of listening to other activists and people that are doing, their own work and on their own creative journeys and pursuits of what they talking about. And there was this creator, I forget her name at this moment, or I forget their name at this moment. But that came across my timeline last night. And it really, just basically what happened in this particular moment of me scrolling on Instagram, it was this creator and they're a writer. And they were talking about this idea, again, coming up of what I was talking about, of charging for their services. Also jumping back, I don't know if y'all know of Larian La Soul Tarot on YouTube. If you listen to her readings and things like that, there was a reading that I listened to of her recently. And one of the things that she channeled was like, well, maybe this journey that you are having in this lifetime is maybe instead of, for example, charging for your services, you provide maybe free services, and in return, the abundance that you seek is through, by faith and, being able to support yourself through the community, just garnering community support. And the way that we look at this community globally as to, we live in such a society that's like, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and make the money. Like, you're supposed to be working. And then so I look around in society and I'm just like, how are we even functioning with all this riffraff going on that's been going on for so long? And I want to be able to support not only myself, but I want to be able to support y'all in y'all's own journeys without having this idea of capitalism attached to it. And so back to this creator, this came across my timeline last night. I'm sitting up like, they're talking about, hey, I decided to stop, charging for my services because they're a writer and they do these, beautiful writings, beautiful speaker, just all in all, just radiant energy. And they basically do Patreon and they do Substack. I'm definitely going to put the link below so y'all could check her out or check them out. And I just instantly was just like, yeah, like this person was confirming every single thing that I had going on in my mind, in my head, and conversations that I've been going back and forth about with myself. And I'm like, the revolution, honestly, is going to start when we start to reject this whole idea of the structures of capitalism and what they have been doing to our bodies, our spirits, our minds, and everything else. Like, we can sit and talk about, well, this is just the way things are, and these are the ways that there have always been. But does it really have to be, though? And I honestly, when I'm talking about like really decolonizing my mind, decolonizing my brain, decolonizing my spirit, when I really think of it in the context of leaving that, because yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be real. If I put myself in the idea of, I think it's the Piscean energy of like where I think of it as being like martyr, like a martyr in a sense of like, you're just going by donation based stuff instead of like charging for your quote unquote worth, having Aries in the second house of like value and worth, and Chiron is being there, the North Node being there. And that just for me personally, grappling with this idea of like, what is my worth actually attached to? Like, I have to earn it. I have to earn it by charging for these services, to earn this money to do what it is that I've come here to do. And I'm just like, I'm saying this all to say, it's been very ass backwards for me. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Very ass backwards for me. And I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I'm just at this space right now. I'm just ready to this kind of release it, And maybe this is my new moon in Sagittarius in the 10th house speaking, of just moving forward of exactly what it is that I want to do. But as far as specifically one-on-one reading sessions with y'all, I think I'm charging into the game. I think I just want to open, my platform. I want to open things up so we can get the care, and give and receive in these ways. Once again, I know we still live in a capitalist society. I'm in a place now where it's like, hey, if you can lend a donation to support me in my journey, thank you. Great. Or if you have a service that you want to trade, going back to the barter and trade system, you know what I'm saying? I really, really need somebody to help me with, for example, SEO. Like, I'm learning about SEO, but I would love for somebody who already knows how to do it that can help me grow so I can reach more people, so I can, go the distance and reach more people in this. So, for example, those types of things versus being attached to capitalism. Yes. And when we go to the Patreon's accounts and things like that, it's like, well, you're still charging for access. Yeah, but the one-on-one direct services for example, me looking over your chart and being able to really go down the line of talking about some stories that you might have and, being a channel, not only just through your actual birth chart, but being a channel to support you in the journey that you're going through. And also on top of everything else, I love doing this stuff. I could literally talk about astrology. My bad. I could literally talk about astrology all day. I can literally talk about it. Is like a second language to me. It honestly feeds me as much as it's feeding y'all, And I don't want to turn anybody down away from that due to, especially in the economy that we're in right now, due to financial, needing financial support. I'm not saying that y'all out here, ain't got it. It's not even that. It's just the idea of maybe having this, session that regardless if you have it or not to give, maybe this session will change the whole trajectory of your life. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. If you want to pay it forward to somebody else who might have a reading and stuff, like I said, support me on my journey and the messenger journey, I would be appreciative of that too. But I think, like I said, it really all comes down to the fact that I want to resist this idea of having this consumerist idea of money being attached, money being attached to your value, to my value, and also just really rejecting this idea of, the only way that we're able to really receive this level of care is through monetization and monetary value. So that is something that's been rattling my mind. I would love to hear how y'all think, how y'all feel. Like I said, that link, that voice message will be below. I'm definitely excited to have my own little ramblings. This is not going to be a scheduled week to week, I'm dropping every week kind of podcast. This is just going to be a manifesting generator's idea of when it's time for me to speak, I will speak. Okay. So don't expect me to post every time the week pops off. Just know that I am in a space that I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to speak. And I'm ready to learn. You know what I mean? So, one North Node in Sagittarius to another. And even if you don't have a North Node in Sagittarius, to all the people that's listening out there, be great. All right? And know that everything that's going on in this world and everything that is happening collectively, because we are all feeling it on a collective level, that we will win. Okay? I know some of y'all are that it's not a matter of winning or losing. No, we will win. Okay? We was not put on this earth. We was not put on this earth to wither away via capitalism. That is not our... We've come to this earth to learn through these different experiences. What you see that is being projected into the world, the things that are being projected, they're just projections. And the more, the thing about a ritual is, the more that you get people to believe the things that are happening is how those things come true. Okay? Remember that. I'll probably say this on every single podcast. Every single voice thing that you hear from me, if you believe it to be true, i.e. money, which has literally no value, it's literally fake, it will be real and it will be true. So the more that we reject and we resist this idea and start to become visualizers and visionaries of what we want our communities to be, what we want ourselves to be, what we want our experience to be, that will be the thing, Wakanda, that will be projected into the world, okay? All right? All right. So I'm going to be checking out of this one here. And I will see y'all in a wee bit. Join me on my travels. Support me on my travels. If you're around the world and you're listening to this, I will be traveling. And if you have a homestay, a comfortable, cozy homestay out there in the world one of these days. If the vibes are right, let me know and I will come and visit. All right, so let's go. Tally ho. This is a rainy storm checking in, checking out without the doubts. Deuces.